I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Welcome to our June 21st, 2021 meeting. And I have to say, you are a good-looking group of people live. It's been a long time.
We'd like to return the...
This is the March 16th, 2020 packet that's been sitting on my desk for 15 months. That's how long it's been since we've been in this here set of chambers and stuff. And if I may, I know you folks got a bunch of papers on your desk. The first order of business, Mayor Lair is on a much deserving vacation. Board President Whitcomb is the acting mayor this evening. So for some of those folks out there, their first order of business in a second will be nominating a chair to get up here and get the meeting started. You have a plethora of paperwork in front of you, for which I apologize. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have that much. There's a couple things. Special event permits, I think I may have spoke about this, all of a sudden are coming to light. A lot of people are looking to get those in. We have a bunch of folks with us tonight. We have 2 or 3 of those that we're going to need to add. We're going to have to make one deletion. So I think other than that, it all makes sense to you in about 5 minutes. The first order of business this evening will be nominating the board president. So I'd like to open nominations. Alderman Clifford.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Alderman Davis.
Second.
Alderman Davis has been nominated. There's a second.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman DePoy. Were there any other nominations forthcoming?
Move to close the nominations.
Thank you, Alderman Grusso. Have a motion to close or a second to close, please? Second. Alderwoman Savage, close. All those in favor of closing the nominations, please say aye.
Aye.
All those in favor of nominating Alderwoman Davis to be your board president this evening, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Come on up, Sharon.
She left.
Guess she didn't want it.
We made her mad. She left.
Going around.
Just can't get off on the... We thought you left. Just can't get off on the right foot.
There was no way I was going under that thing. So, good evening and welcome. As Henry, our clerk, has said, that we have not been in these chambers since March 16th of 2020. With that being said, there might be some folks who'd in are looking at our faces and going, who are they? So maybe we could take just a few minutes to go around and all of us just reintroduce ourselves. We have a number of new aldermen that is this their first meeting in the chambers who can introduce themselves. So I'll start with Alderman Grusso.
Good evening. I'm Sam Garuso.
Hi, everyone. I'm Thomas Franco.
Good evening, Carrie Savage.
Everybody, Devin Neary.
I'm Michael Talbot.
Evening, Michael Dunges.
Billy Gillum.
Paul Clifford.
Tom DePoy.
And I'm Sharon Davis, so welcome. So the first order of business is to approve, I'm sorry, something?
This is just an update for you
Yep.
in case you want.
To approve the minutes of May 27th, 2021. That's the special meeting of the Board of Aldermen.
So-
And June 7th, 2021 minutes.
So move.
Are there any changes, deletions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. We are outside the rail. First up, we have Representative William Notte for a legislative update. Bill, welcome.
Thank you, Madam President. It feels like old times. You're in the chair, and I'll probably speak a little bit longer than you want me to. So, just to be serious for a moment, I do want to congratulate and thank all of the board sitting here today. I'll make no qualms about the fact that I miss local government. You're serving in the purest form of democracy, serving locally, and thank you for your time and thank you for your efforts. I look forward to seeing what this board will accomplish. I look forward to see what you have accomplished. I served on this board for 11 years, and it's excellent to see you all in person, because I think that is an important thing, and I miss being in person in the legislature. I wish that when we were back at the end of this week, we'd be in person as well. That said, I wanted to come in today to talk about one particular thing. It is just a blip on the radar now, but it is going to become extremely important as time goes on. And that is the realignment of our legislative districts, our city wards. So with the census data, after that is compiled and analyzed, we have to look at, the state has to look at the population numbers and allot the correct number of representatives. In a pure system, you just take the number of people in the state and divide it by 150. But the state recognizes that nothing is that simple. There is deviation allowed. We like to keep towns whole when possible. We don't want to split a municipality in two unnecessarily, so on and so forth. In Rutland City, while our population is down in all 4 wards, we are still at the numbers where we will continue to have 4 reps. That is a long-term conversation we will need to have, because if we continue in the direction we are heading, we stand a real possibility after the next census in another decade of going to 3 reps. When I was a young man, Alderman Franco's age, we had 7 reps, and now we're down to 3, and this is a trend we really all need to work together, local government, state reps, to reverse this trend. But for the time being, we have our 4 reps in place. However, all 4 wards have lost population. And the state, like I said, allows for deviation, but after a ward is out of 10% deviation, by state law, it has to be corrected. In Rutland, with our 4 wards, wards 1 and wards 4 are within the legally allowed deviation. However, wards 2 and wards 3 fall outside the legal limits. And ward 2 is actually one of the most out of balance wards in the state at negative 17%. So whatever solution we come by, there is the potential that hundreds of Rutland City voters will find themselves voting at different polling places, will find themselves in different wards next year. This will not affect the March election. This will go to the legislature and be worked on in January. But it will affect the primaries that come later in the year, and it'll be in place after that. When I talked to Mayor Lair about this on Friday, and he could remember being a state representative, and perhaps Alderman Poy is the same way, 20 years ago, when changes to the population required that Ward 4, which I represent now and Mayor Lair represented at the time, the line moved from Main Street down to Lincoln Avenue. And there were hundreds of city residents who suddenly weren't certain where they should vote, weren't certain who their state representative was. There's a level of confusion there that we need to avoid. And on the state level, I plan to introduce a bill that has the state send a postcard to everyone in a district whose boundaries change. The state has done a lot to talk about easing the voting process, to make the voting process open, and I think it makes sense as part of this, that if you are a resident anywhere in the state and your district has changed, even if you're still in the same district, to avoid confusion, you get a postcard in the mail. If you live here, you vote here. Simple as that. And that's something I'll be working on with co-sponsors in January. But what I wanted to talk to you mainly about today is something that is the impact on the ground in Rutland. So Rutland is going to have to change our districts, our wards, in order to find legal balance for representation at the state level. And of course, that will affect how the wards are divided in polling places for local elections as well. And I've heard 3 possibilities that I'll mention. And I'll just say before I talk about them briefly, I'm sure most of you know, if not all of you, what happens locally is the Board of Civil Authority looks at the lines, looks at the numbers, and makes suggestions. So those suggestions go to Montpelier, but like a lot of things in the state, the final say resides with the legislature. The legislature can work with the changes it's handed, or can just ignore them and start from whole cloth. So what I want to stress today is we need to recognize what's coming. We need to work as a local community to decide which option, which potential change is best for us. And then locally we need to start to bang the drum, and then the state reps and state senators need to carry our voices when this is being discussed. And I've been told that the House Government Operations Committee will be working on nothing but this from January through March, with the goal being to have something to the Senate in March and something passed in June so that it can take place before the primary. So with that said, I've heard 3 potential options for fixing the population discrepancies in the Rutland City wards. The first is to attempt to monkey around with all 4 ward boundaries so that all 4 fall within the legal limits. We would just need all 4 at -9%. That may mathematically be possible, but we would be moving pretty much every district boundary in one direction or another. The second option I've heard is a possibility is to change Rutland so that instead of having 2 districts, or instead of having 4 districts, we have 2. So instead of 4 districts with 1 rep per district, we have 2 districts with 2 reps per district. Perhaps a north and south districts, or an east-west district with a line drawn wherever it needs to bring the balance to the population. That's another possibility. It would mean the city could switch from 4 polling places to 2 and perhaps save us some money. It might also ease the perpetual challenge of finding enough volunteers to man the polls. But again, it would be a very big change for the city. And then the third option that I've heard is a possibility is the one that actually troubles me the most. Well, Rutland City has lost population in all 4 of our districts, our wards. Rutland Town has actually gained a population. And one suggestion that has been floated is to push one of the Rutland districts into Rutland Town. The suggestion I heard that someone said made the most sense was to bubble on 5-2, which needs the most population, out into Rutland Town, going north in the Stratton Road area where it's pretty neighborhood dense. With the idea being that there would be one Rutland Town district that voted for their rep, there'd be 3 Rutland City districts that voted for reps, and then there would be a combined Rutland City, Rutland Town district that voted for another rep. And I have to say that is the one that troubles me the most. I think that would be the most confusing. I think that would be the one that would challenge the most people on who they're voting for and where they're supposed to go. And quite frankly, we all know that there has been animosity in the past between Rutland City and Rutland Town. And we are moving beyond that. And we are trying to work together in a manner that we really need to move this area forward. And I would hate to see a dictate from the state for the changes like that add animosity, open old wounds between the city and the town. So I think that, you know, this community, this group as a whole, the Board of Civil Authority, the Mayor's Office, the Board of Aldermen, need to decide which option that we want to recommend and which option we want to push. But, you know, I hope there will be some general concurrence that that third option is most likely a terrible idea. And that's really all I had for today. There's time to work on this. Like I said, the Government Operations Committee will begin on this when the House of the Vermont Legislature is back in session in January. But honestly, I think that as this plays out, we would and should have a preferred option in place by the beginning of December so that we can begin to push for it and we can begin to make certain that, to the best of our ability, the changes that need to be made are the changes that Rutland City as a community, and quite frankly our neighbors as our partners, have determined is the best option. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman DePoy, you have a question?
So, Willem, what's the target number? It's about, what, 4,600 or something like that? Do you have that number?
So I don't have the hard number yet because we don't have all the census data, but it's looking like the Vermont population went up by 2% overall. So you're going to be, I think, in the 46 to somewhere between 46 and 4,700 mark.
So in the last census, Rutland Town was above. They were already, their percentage was within 10, but they were within 10% above whatever this target number is going to be. So they're fine. These other districts, the problem is that, you know, as you mentioned, they're all below, and the deviation is 10%. As a board, we sit on the BCA and we'll help to draw those lines if you so choose to go to those, with the JPs as well. Back in 2001, we did lose a rep
We had 2 in the southwest and then 1 in each of the other wards. And we went to 4. The biggest problem that the city is facing is the decline in population in the city. And as he mentioned, a lot of people are going out to Rutland Town. Think about all of the houses that were in District 2 over here, Royce Street, you know, up and down South Main Street, that have gotten torn down from fires. Well, those housed many people. So that's part of the reason why I think District 2 has lost as many people as it has. So I think 2 is probably gonna have to go up into 1, because 1 has typically been the biggest district. So, you know, we gotta keep that in mind. I think if the state legislature in their infinite wisdom decides to take Rutland and move it, go up Killington Avenue past Carrie's house into Rutland Town, you're gonna have a representative that's gonna be torn in half.
This
Literally, if
this
not-
room won't be big enough for the people coming in.
Seriously, I mean, you know, we get along with Rutland Town for the most part. I mean, we know all kinds of people in the town and everything. We have good friends that live in the town, but when it comes to taxation, it comes to other things, there's a lot of differences. William, when you go back to Montpelier, what you need to, impress upon those on the GovOps committee is every single one of these districts, because it's a very partisan, very political process, the redistricting. When you go up and talk to those people, you have to let them know, look, Rutland votes all districts in different ways. There have been representatives from the southwest, from the northwest, northeast, southeast that have been of both political parties over the last 20 years since I was there and did the redistricting. And actually, you're right, Dave Allaire was there for that redistricting as well. And since then and before then, every one of those districts have changed, Democrat, Republican. It's whoever the best person is for the job that, gets that job. And, if they think that they can gerrymander the lines up there, they will to try to solidify one side or the other to that political party. But it doesn't work in Rutland because we've switched back and forth in all districts several times in the last 20 years. So just keep that in mind when you go and talk to them. Who's chairing GovOps this year?
It's Sarah Copeland-Hanses.
Okay, so if you can speak to her and let her know, that's been the historical nature of all these 4 districts, minus the one that we lost 20 years ago, maybe that would help them to really just say, okay, Rutland, you guys go ahead and do it yourself. We don't see any benefit one way or the other in tinkering with the lines that you send us.
Yeah,
Just a thought.
No, and the lines are going to need to be changed, but you're right. We want them changed to make the population balance, not for any other reason. And
Because I don't think it's going to matter, and they need to understand that up there. So.
And again, this is where, and Alderman DePoy, you know this, you're Representative DePoy for quite some time. This is where having more voices in the mix works. If we can have letters in support of whatever plan we think works best from not just this body and the mayor's office and from Rutland Town perhaps, but from Rutland City Democratic Party, Rutland City Republican Party, so that there is a uniform voice saying, let's do this simply based on population and let's get it right. The more of those letters of support we can have generated before the end of December, the better off we'll be.
Thank you. Any other questions, Representative Alderman Gillum?
Yes, Mr. Representative, who is the Rutland County member on government ops? So we don't have somebody from Rutland County?
We don't have someone from
We
Rutland
have
County.
nobody from Rutland County on government ops?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate
All right,
the update.
I think so.
So is there anyone else outside the rail that would like to address the board on matters not on the agenda? Sir, you have an issue you'd like to bring? So if you could just go to the podium here. And I just need your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Bill Pecor. I live at 133 Harrington Avenue.
Welcome. Thank you, Mr. Pecor. How
Okay,
can we
so-
help you?
I moved back down here in 2017 after leaving in 1971 and bought a house on Harrington Avenue. And since I've been there, we have a new neighbor moved in shortly after I moved in, and we have nothing but noise coming from his house. And it's so bad that one of my other neighbors said that his windows and floors were shaking. So I called the police a few times, and they've gone up there, and they told him, and this is exactly what they told me, they can't do anything until after 10 o'clock. Well, that's not in the town charter, and it's not in the state statute. It is not in the state statute. State Statute, Chapter 19, Title 13, in 1022, Article 1022, says any disturbance, it's basically from dusk to dawn. And I went down and I read the Rutland article, and somebody can go by my house with a stereo in their car, and they could actually get fined for it, but my neighbor can't get fined for it because that's not in the charter. There's nothing about noise coming from residents. If you read that charter real good, it's very vague. In Vermont State Statute, the same Title 13, Chapter 19, Article 1026, disorderly conduct, a person who, with intent to cause public inconvenience or annoyance or recklessly creating a risk thereof, engages in fighting and/or violence, threatening behavior, or makes unreasonable noise. And that's the disturbing of the peace part of the statute.
So if I may, just be clear, you're talking about your neighbor, and there's noise all night long, or?
It can be anywhere from 1 till 1 in the morning, 12 hours a day.
From 1 p.m. in the afternoon to
Right.
1 a.m. in the morning, okay.
And when the cops did come a couple of times, he toned it down after they showed up, and 20 minutes after they left, he cranked it right back up. And this is it's getting to the point where if the cops don't do something, somebody else probably gonna do it. It's that bad.
Right.
It's really bad.
So may I ask, do your neighbors own the home, or is it a rental
I
property?
believe they bought it.
They own the home,
Yeah, I
okay.
believe they did. They bought it, because I bought mine in June of 2017, and they moved in about 3 months later. And I actually got along with the guy when he first moved in.
Okay.
And so I really would like to see something done about this. And the way our charter's written, there's nothing they can do.
Well,
It really is. The way the charter's,
It's either ordinance, it's probably in the ordinance. It's an ordinance.
right.
it might be, but I looked at the charter and ordinance. I went down to town hall and looked at it, and the town clerk tried to explain it to me. And
So if maybe we could ask the city attorney if you could address kind of what we govern for noise ordinance for the city, and Alderman Russo?
I was just going to add, a million years ago, we were working on an item, and it wasn't in the state law, it was in our law.
Correct.
The cops write on state law. So that's what I'm saying. If it's in the state law, I don't know why the police aren't writing tickets, because they write based on state law, because we would have to use a grand juror system to I guess, to write on local law, as I understood it back then. So my thing is I don't know what Matt's going to say here, but I would think that if it's on state law, they should be writing a ticket for it, I would think.
See, the first sentence says, a person who between sunset and sunrise disturbs or breaks the public peace by firing guns, blowing horn, or any unnecessary or offensive noise shall be fined not more than $50.
So I
But
think Attorney Bloomer might be able to clear up our ordinance versus state charter, I guess I'll call it.
Right, yeah, so Alderman Russo is correct that our police have the ability to enforce state statute. We also have our separate, as Alderman DuPois said, the ordinances. Our charter's a little bit shorter in kind of the basic structure of the city, and then the ordinances are a bit thicker, and there is an ordinance, as you said, sir, that deals with prohibition against loud noise from sound amplification system in a vehicle, but there, to my knowledge, there isn't a more general noise in the night or noise disturbance type of ordinance. I believe it's been on building and zoning's to-do list or wish list to investigate and try to put something into place, because I think it is a common complaint that folks have, that there are neighbors that aren't acting the way that they should, or there's other disturbances. So, but I can look at what you cited, and I think we can either directly discuss with the police chief or bring it to the attention of the police commission.
See, our bedroom is approximately 55 feet from his backyard. And what he does, in the summer, he'll open his glass doors and he puts the stereo up right by the screen, and it just cranks it right up. And I used to live in Hartford for 40-some odd years. And in their ordinance, they basically have a part in their ordinance that says within a certain distance. It doesn't give a distance. It basically says one of the considerations they take in on the noise is the proximity of the sound to residential sleeping facilities. And,
So if we could have, I think Attorney Bloomer stated he is going to have a discussion with the police chief, Chief Kilcullen, and also he'll look into the ticket writing, the ability, the state versus the city ordinance. And then we can also see where we are maybe with building and zoning, maybe working toward that other ordinance. So a referral to the city attorney would be in order.
that'd be great.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any debate on the motion to refer? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And Mr. Pecor, we have your name and phone number, so give us a little time, and either myself or Alderman DePoy or city, probably myself or Alderman DePoy will get in touch with you.
Okay, thank you
All
very
right?
much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else outside the rail to address the board on matters not on the agenda? Okay, I have to stop once, because as we all went around and introduced ourselves, we forgot the board president, who is sitting outside the rail, as an acting mayor. So, Matt Bloomer, okay.
No communications from the mayor, but good evening.
So I didn't want to forget Matt Whitcomb out there, as he's been gone a year and a half as well. So no communications from the mayor, but we do have some additions and deletions to the agenda. We need to delete under petitions, letters, and miscellaneous communications. We're going to delete the pole and wire request from Green Mountain Power, and we're going to add 3 special event permits: Friday Night Live, Downtown Partnership, Parade Heroes and Community Celebration Chamber and Economic Development, and Whoopi Rutland from the Chamber and Economic Development. So if I could have that motion to add.
So moved.
Any debate? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries. We are on to reports and letters from department heads and officials. Barbara Spaulding, RRA, BROC additional refrigeration freezer. Barbara, welcome.
Hello, it's so good to see you all in person again. I just want to bring to your attention that the PM4 form that's in your packet that designates the RRA to perform the grant admin for the BROC project is required to have your signature. So we are asking that you circulate for signature. And then while I was here, I thought I would just give you a little update on the project. I spoke with Tom Donahue, and he said that the walk-in panels have been delivered, and the refrigeration tech will be picking up the refrigeration system from Bell Simons. He also met with Tedesco Masonry regarding the cement slab and the doorway last Friday. So it looks like the project is on schedule, and it will need to be completed and the grant completed by December of this year. And that's what I have for an update.
Any questions of Barbara? Okay.
Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
All those in favor of suspending the rules, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Motion to circulate for signatures.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to circulate for signature. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Barbara.
Thanks so much.
Next up is Treasurer Markowski. Treasurer Markowski is away on vacation. So first up, we have a treasurer's report for May 31st, 2021. What is your pleasure? Or just receive and file?
So moved.
Okay, so we have a motion to receive and place on file. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Any debate on the motion to receive and place on file? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next up, we
Madam
have the
Chairman?
American, I'm sorry.
Excuse me,
Alderman
one
Wilson.
second. I was just in the middle of signing that. That was the Leahy deal, or the Welch deal, right? From
Nope, the first one, what we just received was her treasurer's report
Okay, I'm sorry.
for
Thank
May
you.
31st.
All right, just wanted to make sure I was with you. Thank
Yep,
you.
we're fine. Next up is the American Rescue Plan Act information for the board. And we have a cover letter from Treasurer Markowski This is in regards to, as you know, the $4.4 million American Rescue Plan that would be coming to the city. We have the discussion has been sent to Finance Committee to work with the mayor and the board to determine how and where we'd like to spend that
Shouldn't we
4.4.
refer
So I
this
would
to
suggest
finance?
you refer this to Finance.
Refer to finance, so moved.
Second.
Any debate on the motion to refer? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, we are on to reports of standing committees. Alderman Clifford, Public Works.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The DPW committee met on June 14th, 5:30. The members present were Alderman Gillum, Neary, Dunges, and myself. Others present were Mayor Allaire, Alderman Whitcomb, Treasurer Markowski, Police Chief Kilcullen, Alderman Talbot, Interim DPW Commissioner Rotundo. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss the current city pavement marking program. Alderman Neary had referred the issue to the committee at the last regular board meeting on June 7th. Commissioner Rotundo opened the meeting by giving the committee a PowerPoint presentation. The presentation began by reviewing the current pavement marking program. The commissioner explained that the waterborne paint is applied once a year at night, usually by a painting contractor chosen via a competitive bid process. Unfortunately, waterborne paint is considered to be a temporary marking and not very durable. Jim explained to the committee that pavement markings are currently often badly worn and unrecognizable within months of application, and that a more durable product needs to be applied in the future to ensure that the markings do not disappear throughout the year. Several photographs depicting insufficient pavement markings in various locations throughout the city were shown. It was explained that the lack of lane and crosswalk delineations caused a confusing and dangerous situation for both pedestrians and motorists. Mr. Rotundo discussed additional problems with the current program, including the difficulty in getting painting contractors to do the work, an insufficient budget to accomplish the work, and DPW overtime expenses to supervise the work every year. Historically, between $27,000 and $50,000 per year has been allocated for pavement marking over the past 5 years. The line in the municipal budget is oftentimes overspent. The commissioner then reviewed different alternatives to correct the current deficiencies. More durable marking products available include epoxy paint, polyurea paint, and thermoplastic. At this point, the most promising alternative seems to be epoxy paint since its impact and abrasion resistant. Polyurea is another good durable product, except that it needs to be installed in a microgroove for protection. These products often last 2 to 3 plus years before repainting becomes necessary. Jim then referenced the 2018 pavement marking study performed by the Vermont Agency of Transportation that concluded epoxy and polyurea performed the best and lasted 35 months. Mr. Rotundo then reviewed the process plan to convert the city to durable pavement markings over possibly a 2 to 3 year lifetime. He indicated that $150,000 of seed money would be necessary to help finance the conversion and suggested using COVID relief funds if appropriate. A question was raised as to whether the current paving bond could be used to provide this necessary funding. The commissioner said he was asked bond counsel if funds from the current street paving budget or paving bond could be used for this purpose. The second item of the proposed plan would be to adjust the pavement marking line in future municipal budgets to ensure adequate funding is available. The last item of the plan is to obtain Board of Aldermen approval to modify the nature of the pavement marking plan budget line so that any unspent funds can be carried over to the following year. Jim explained that the expected benefits from the proposed plan include improved safety to pedestrians and motorists, a 2 to 3 plus year repainting schedule, more uniform appearance and reflectivity throughout the life cycle between paintings, and reduction in labor overtime costs to supervise paint application. Mr. Rotundo concluded the presentation by showing a relative cost comparison between waterborne and epoxy paint his department performed in 2018. The spreadsheet indicated that the epoxy was 2 to 3 times more expensive than the waterborne paint at that time. He explained that if waterborne paint lasts for 6 months and epoxy lasts for 2 years, the cost would be comparable over time. Alderman Neary and Alderman Whitcomb stated that they both support the plan and that it makes sense. Mayor Allaire thanked the commissioner for his presentation and explained that money is tight again this year and that any money from contingency would be a last resort. The main topic of the issue will be left in committee as to the findings of the commissioner's conversation with bond counsel. A motion was made by Alderman Neary to approve the modification of the nature of the pavement marking budget line to reflect that unspent funds can be carried over to the following year. The motion was agreed upon unanimously, and I so move.
Second.
Is there any debate on the motion? Any questions of Alderman Clifford and his report?
I believe everyone was emailed a presentation from the committee that the commissioner had to the committee, and if I don't mind, I'd like to, and I think there was also a letter from bond counsel that explained, if you wanted to address that, Jim?
Sure.
Well, I did get an answer from bond counsel, and basically he said that it wasn't appropriate to use the paving bond. So we're going to have to find that money from other sources.
Thank you. Alderman DeFoe, you have a question?
So, I do have a question, but if I can stay on that real quick. If we're paving any road out there, why would it be inappropriate to remark, you know, whether it be the white line at a stop sign or a turn arrow or anything that, you know, the big lines or the big print that says stop, you know, ahead or whatever, why would it be inappropriate? I mean, maybe you need to get back to them on this, because if we're repaving the roads, redoing the roads, they've got to be, you know, remarked with the pavement markings. So why not use this, you know, the better, more durable
Right.
Markings and use that? If we repave a road now, do we use the pavement funds to repaint those markings?
We can, and that's the only case that we can use the
It's just
paving
on,
bond.
if we're gonna put it on.
Exactly.
On existing asphalt, we can't do it.
Right.
Or shouldn't do it anyway.
Right, so what and I'll quote exactly what he said, part of it. He said, I do not believe the voter-approved authorization can be construed to support any expenditure that doesn't directly expand or enhance the underlying highway rehabilitation project. So, you know, if we only pave, say, 4 to 5 miles of road a year, that's not much painting.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got 76 miles of road. So the lion's share for painting are all those streets that aren't going to get any treatment this year.
So, and then my question, is about the motion that came out of committee. And maybe a question for the city attorney. Can we, as a board, make a motion and pass it, you know, say we, you know, suspend the rules right now and do it, and just say that those funds can be, the pavement marking funds can be carried over to next year? I think at the end of the year, by charter, doesn't it have to go back into general fund, any unspent monies, and that goes to reduce the rate?
That's right. Well,
I don't think we can do that.
The board chooses, if you remember in those meetings, there's usually a presentation about, you know, we've got this much unassigned fund balance available due to surplus or otherwise, and then we get into those, I used to get in those discussions with you about, you know, should it be 10% or 9%? And there is precedent. I don't know necessarily where the legal authority for it is, but there is precedent that there are other sinking funds. Jim, is it the paving
Bridge.
The bridge maintenance fund.
The bridge maintenance fund, where there was a resolution by the board to allow those funds to be rolled in, and then Mary, as the treasurer, you know, accounts for that when she's doing the books. So I don't know, I can double check to make sure there is legal authority. If it is by charter, then it would be, unless it says the board may, you know, change by a vote, it would be, you know, illegal to do that. But if it's not in the charter and there's other, you know, like I said, it's a little bit akin to those discussions that are had at the time of setting the tax rate, where some portion of those funds are sometimes kept in the unassigned fund balance, some are, you know, reserved for other uses. I think one year was to fund a police department position, or, you know, we've done different things. So I can double check that though to make sure that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're within our legal bounds to do it. And if we are, I'm going to vote in favor of it, but I think we should just keep that in mind, that if we're actually not allowed to, then we might have to go back and change the action we take tonight. So that's all.
I just want to say I support your motion if you want to suspend the rules. I know we, in past or whatever, we can't take money that's supposed to go back to the general fund or whatever, but before the season's up, I know in the past, long before I got back on the board, I've written letters to City Hall about some of the streets that had pretty bad striping, and especially up along Main Street, that was kind of dangerous, that some of the stripes are gone. So this is serious, and I don't know if we can go another year without some of these roads. So this is an important motion that we'll be making here. So I'll make the motion to suspend the rules if you want to.
It's out of,
Because it came out
Okay,
of
it's out?
committee, we won't have
Yeah,
to suspend the
okay.
rules. Alderman Cruz.
What's your motion there, Nancy?
I was a step ahead, I'm sorry.
All right, well, everybody gets.
So if the chair can just request clarification, with the motion, is this a one-time year thing? Because that's kind of what I, like, you know, 2021 budget to 2022, or is this a continually type thing? So that's, I think, what the attorney just needs to understand, that this is to begin a process that will continue.
Correct.
To roll over every year.
Correct.
Okay.
That was our intent.
Okay, so the motion on the floor was to approve, it was seconded. Is there any further debate? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Alderman Clifford. Are there any other reports of standing committees? Seeing none. Reports of select committees. Representatives. Okay. We're on to petitions, letters, and miscellaneous communications. First up is the special events permit request, Rutland County Out of the Darkness Walk. It's pages 3 through 9. Your pleasure.
Suspend the rules.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to suspend the rules. We have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Talbot. All those in favor of suspending the rules, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Alderman DeFoy?
And motion to approve the S.E.P. request for the Rutland County Out of Darkness Walk. What's the date on that?
It
That's
is
the
for
16th?
September 18th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
So moved.
at Main Street Park. Is there a second? Second. Second from Alderman Neary. Any debate on the motion to approve? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next, we are on to, hold on, I know I've got it here. Special events permit, Whoopie Pie Festival. Lyle, did you want to speak about the Whoopie Pie Festival? Now, give me time to find it.
While you're looking for that, both Eric and I are here to talk about that. It's a joint effort on the part of the Paramount Theater and the Chamber and Economic Development of the Rutland Region, longest name of an organization in the county. Back probably before the holidays, we were all starved to be out with other people. Some of us were fortunate enough to be able to stay home. There were a lot of people that were not able to stay home. And those were grocery store workers, the oil delivery people, hospital folks. We know who they are. We have a long list right now that we've compiled between the Paramount and our organization of folks that we would like to come and celebrate with us. And originally we had planned an October 9th Whoopie Pie Festival, where we would also have a parade. And then the state of Vermont did so well that we had to move the parade up. So there are two requests in there for you. One is for a parade on August 28th, I hope I've got that right. and the other is the Whoopie Pie Festival on October 9th.
Right.
So we thought, what better way to get out than to have a parade and honor the people that worked during times that we weren't able to get out there, and they had to get out there. And we want to honor them on that day with a parade. It'll be short, and you'll see some of the things in there. We want to kind of keep some of it a surprise, even though Gordon is here. And Gordon has the press release that we hope will be going out shortly after this meeting. So we would ask that you approve that so that we can honor the folks that worked for us. And the Whoopie Pie Festival is just to have a blast. And it was about, whoopee, we're out of COVID. Well, yeah, we'll still be out of COVID at that point, so it'll still be a Whoopie Pie Festival. And we hope that thousands of people will come and join us in downtown Rutland.
Great, thank you. So we need a motion, Alderman Corr?
Motion to suspend the rules and take the issue of the Parade of Heroes and Community Celebration up. And do you want to do both of them at the same
Well,
time?
right now we're on Whoopi. So
Oh,
if
you
we
want to
could-
do Whoopi
We could
first?
do
I was
Whoopi.
just going chronologically. All right, we'll do Whoopi. Whoopi
Second.
Rutland.
Okay, we have a second. So this is a motion to suspend the rules. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Alderman Dupoy?
Motion to approve the Whoopi Rutland Community Festival on October 9th of 2021 from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Center Street.
Second.
Any debate on the motion to approve? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And now we have the Parade of Heroes and Community Celebration.
So, motion to suspend the rules and
Second.
take the issue up tonight.
Second.
The motion has been seconded for suspension of the rules. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. We need a motion to approve.
And
Alderman Talbot approved. Do we have a second? Alderman Dunges said second. So this is Parade of Heroes Community Celebration, August 28th from 4 to 10. Center Street, downtown Rutland. Any debate on the motion to approve? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. And then we have a special event for request for Friday Night Live.
Thank you very much.
Would anybody speak to Friday Night Live? Okay.
She's right there.
Welcome.
She's right there.
I didn't see you. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Very, very excited to bring Friday Night Live back to Rutland on 2 nights, September 10th and September 24th, both Fridays. Should be bigger than ever, lots of vendors coming, and the parklets will be a wonderful addition with outdoor dining so that our restaurateurs do not have to worry about bringing out their own additional seating this year. So we can't wait to see you all there.
Great, thank you. Alderman Talbot. Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to suspend the rules, and it's been seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Alderman Talbot.
I'll make a motion to approve the special event permit for the 2 dates for Friday Night Live.
Second.
Okay, any debate on the motion to approve Friday Night Live, September 10th, September 24th, from 5 to 10 p.m.? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, we look forward to it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we do have a request. We need a motion to go into the Board of Control Commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. We have first and third and outside consumption requests for Strangefellows Pub. So first, we would need to circulate for signature.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of circulating the first class license for signature, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And the clerk will circulate that. And then we have...
Madam President?
Yes, Pierre.
If I may, and I mean this in the most loving way. You're the most efficient president I've worked with in quite some time. I'm having a little hard time keeping up here. There is one paper that's being circulated around. I just need to make sure that I get these back. I'm going to circulate distribute a couple more.
you have that.
I'm just not quite sure. It's an application. It's important that we have
Thank
them.
you.
Sometimes they get
It's
lost
not
in the shuffle.
Can only sign a half a line on these, Henry, can we?
They're, Sammy, it's like the old days, under the approved or disapproved.
Right, but only half a line for all of us, right?
That's right, you just, wherever you fit in. Yes, no.
Just not because I'm upset about it or anything. My name is not on the one in your hand, and I didn't know where to sign, so I can sign it afterwards if need be. That's fine. You just tell me where to do it.
I'm sorry, I didn't even notice that. So, did you sign it or no?
I did not. I'll do it afterwards.
So
Okay, so I'll leave this out for
The application coming
you.
around is for the first and third. If you sign there, and if I may, Madam President, on the outside consumption, if we could just have a motion to authorize the clerk to sign.
Right, so we'll get to that. So this we're gonna leave out because Alderman Dunges did not. His name is not present, so we'll need to make sure he signs it. On a liquor license, it's approve or disapprove, okay? So there's never enough lines for us, just squeeze your name in on whatever side you seem to come down.
When he and I are done, there will be.
All right, so that'll be circulated. And lastly, we have an outside consumption permit for Strangefellow Pub. This is 13 Evelyn Street. This is on their back deck, and the motion would be
guess
to
there's nothing
authorize the
else.
clerk
I
to
don't
sign.
see it.
Alderman Keller. Alderman Gillum, you second?
It's that one, I think.
So is there any debate on the outside consumption permit? The motion was made to authorize the clerk to sign. It was seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those
I think they'll
opposed?
just go with it, because I don't see where to sign it.
We need a motion to go out.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, so we'll let that finish. And then we are under unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business to come before the board? Seeing none. Miscellaneous motions, resolutions, new business. Alderman DePoy.
So, Madam Chair, I'm hearing from all corners and even outside the city, outside the county, about businesses that are unable to, I don't know if it's get former workers back to work for them, or if it's find new employees, but in talking with them, and I kind of experienced a little bit of myself over the winter. We're very busy in Killington. There's not much of a workforce out there because, frankly, people are looking at the amount of money that they're able to get with the enhanced benefits in unemployment. And it was just economically more feasible for them to stay on the unemployment and get the 600 plus whatever their state unemployment is. Some people, making well over $1,000 in unemployment benefits per week, and it just didn't behoove them to go back to work. So these businesses are having a lot of trouble getting employees back. We do still have an enhanced benefit that the state of Vermont is accepting right now for the workforce, and a lot of states are beginning to move away from the enhanced benefit because they've got to get the employees back to work so that these businesses can fully reopen. Restaurants are having a terrible time, and I was just talking to a guy at Champlain Bridge Marina today, and he's down 2 mechanics, and all of the pool that he, over the years for his summer help, has gone to that pool, and to a T, every single one of those mechanics are saying, I'm making more on unemployment right now, so I'm not coming back to work until this enhanced benefit's gone. So this guy is backed up now 3 months on what he thinks he can get repairs for people that have boats and their trailers to move their boats and stuff on Champlain, in the Champlain Bridge area. So I'm picking people's brains here to say, hey, what can we do as a board, as a city of Rutland, to help out our businesses to get employees back to work? Can we maybe send the governor a letter saying, hey, can we just decline the rest of the enhanced benefit on the unemployment so that we can get our workforce back to work? I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there for people to help me out in where I'm going with this.
Alderman Dunn.
So I think declining, this is a great question. I think declining the enhanced benefit is challenging with Vermont's mean income being kind of low as it is in a time like this. I think one of the conversations I had just this past weekend with a few small business owners in the area, and they understand this, and they haven't had these challenges, is the idea that the federal government and the state combined is providing more income to these people than they earn in their jobs puts the onus and the burden back on corporate America to potentially increase the salaries of those people that need that work. So in the case of your boat mechanic, right, or the boat mechanic situation, if he's got 3 months of backlog work in that scenario, offering to pay that person more than they're making on unemployment would help him clear the backlog. He'd be making the profit still. So I think there's a balance there. I think it's my perspective on it is it'd be difficult for the people that actually needed to remove that benefit, while those that are choosing to stay home because they make more money on it, even though they can go back to work, might be resolved by those business owners offering a little bit more incentive.
I hear what you're saying to a T, and I understand it. My only concern in that would be the inflationary factor, because now by that business owner paying the mechanic, more, he's going to raise his rates to the people that have the broken boats, and it's just a downward cycle. I mean, so now somebody's going to charge more here, somebody's going to charge more down the road, and inflation is going to go through the roof. I totally hear what you're saying, though. I, as a business owner, have raised my starting wages. I mean, $15 an hour is what I'm hearing is a good starting, wage. It's what the goal is. I pay $16 to start now. With going to $17 after they're trained and know the houses that we clean in Killington, stuff like that. So I get that perspective. I hope we keep in mind the inflationary factor that accompanies that as well. But if that's the way to get people back to work, then I'm all for it. I would like to see people working so that our economy can get back to fully functioning at this point. So
Isn't that benefit ending in July, September?
I'm hearing September, which is 3 months from now still. Well, 2.5 then. So I mean, a lot of our summer commerce is restaurants. I mean, along the lake house at Lake Bombazine, or once we get into them, hopefully they don't extend it, because then we'd be looking at fall foliage season and stuff like that, and it's gonna be tough on those industries. So, but thank you.
Thank you.
I think we all
So I'm just putting it out here, if
we
at
all
some
agree.
point we as a board think we should do something and at least take some action, because our businesses are not able to go to full capacity because they don't have the work help that, the workforce, then maybe we want to keep that in the back of our minds and go forward, so. Thank you.
Lyle, would you like to add to the conversation?
Yeah, I don't have a solution, and but Tom's right on. We're going out to visit our members now, and we visited a member the other day, and they need 45 people to be fully employed at this point. We went to another member, and they needed 20 more people to be fully employed. We went to and talked to another organization, and they said if we started by raising the pay at the bottom, we're going to have to raise the pay in the middle and at the top, and it's going to cost us $2 million more a year if we were to do that. So the issue is about people. And someday you're going to invite me to come back and talk about our regional marketing initiative, because that is having some slow progress, and we appreciate the fact that it's beginning to work, and you're helping subsidize that, so thank you for that. But the problem is real. I don't have the solution, but we need to be speaking out, because if there are issues that are keeping people from going back to employment when they should be ready to go back to employment, we may want to encourage that just as much as we've helped people to stay home when they needed to stay home. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Sharon?
All right.
Sharon?
Any other, I'm sorry, Alderman Caruso.
Yeah, actually, a
This one?
few weeks ago, I wanted to
That goes on top.
talk about this, and I guess we will tonight. I was going to talk to the marketing department. I wanted to know if Henry had the list of committees, the marketing committee. And I actually was ready to roll on this, that in 1977, I'm in school in Boston, and Frank Sinatra was singing, "I Love New York." He was singing it, and Rutland's still going, "I love Rutland." Come on, 40-something years ago, knock it off. Rutland strong, and it's Army strong. It was stolen. We don't have anything original, okay? You want the answer to our problems? We don't market ourselves talking about why we live here. Why do we live here? Why do we live here? Why do we live here? Why do we work here? Why do we work here? We had a mayor that was out there on the news saying, people are dying on the streets and we're the, what was it, the heroin capital? We're the heroin capital. We're the heroin capital. He was on all the national news. Let's go out and fix that. That's what we got to fix. That's the problem in Rutland, and that's how you fix it, is get out there and say, why do we live in Rutland? We live in Rutland because I feel safe here. I love Rutland. I like working here. That's what our problem is. That's how you fix it. Where do we get the money? Washington. I guess that's where we're going to have to get it. Get it maybe some from Montpelier, because that's where that governor was that helped us get on the cover of whatever magazine that was. That's our problem. And there's our population dropped. People talk to me. I talk to people all over the country. Hey, how's things there with your drug problem? Huh? You guys really, you guys shooting people on the streets up there? They think it's a Wild West up here. It's not, So you want to market Rutland, you got to do it right. And everybody runs to the internet. There's people right over there. That's all they think there is, internet. That's it, guys. It's the internet. Yep, there's it. I watch your little things here. It's all the internet. I don't know what I'm doing after 42 years in the marketing business. Okay, but I'll tell you something. I love Vermont. I love Rutland. I can hear Frank singing it now from his grave. It's crazy. And I can hear Army strong, I'm this strong, and Army tough, and all that. It's all old. There's enough people with the people that want Raiders and the people that want, what's the other one they're calling it there, the Ravens. You all get together. Let's come up with something new. Let's market Rutland. Rutland, Vermont was a classy town in its day. I'm looking at these pictures I haven't seen in over a year. Rutland was the place to live. Some very well-to-do people lived here, and we love this town, and I love this town, and I'm proud to say I'm from here, and I'm proud to say I live here. That's what our marketing committee must be working on, and if it's going to cost us money, let's get some money to work on that, and let's advertise out in the world why we live here, and that will bring other people here. That's my recommendation to our marketing committee. I don't know which one of you guys are on it because I don't have my list with me, but thank you very much. That's my recommendation.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
Madam President, before
Yes.
we adjourn.
I don't know if anyone else has any other business.
Oh, well, I just wanted to welcome Dustin Pedroia to the chambers, former member of the Red Sox and former Alderman Dustin Pedroia. Swear to God, he's sitting right there. Look at.
Oh dear, Alderman Talbot.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring up starting a discussion of creating a TIF district in Rutland, a tax incentive fund district. I've been talking with Brennan Duffy about this over the past month. He's started to do some work on it. He's spoken to White & Burke, the consulting firm, and they're interested in working with us potentially. He also spoke with a man I met recently, Dominic Cloud, who's the city manager in St. Albans, who had a lot of success creating a TIF district there. So I was hoping to get a referral to the CED committee to have a meeting on it in which we'd invite White & Burke and we'd invite Dominic Cloud to come and talk to us about how that process might work and what it might look like for
Okay, so you have a motion to refer?
Make that motion or second it.
Okay. Is there any debate on the motion to refer the TIF district to Community Economic Development? Alderman Gillum.
I agree with him, but we need to look at some of the history. Redevelopment Authority did this about 15 years ago.
Right.
When Matthew Sternberg was here. I think we need to pull those records up and look at those on what's been done and then add new stuff we have to do.
Right. Great. Any other statements, questions? If not, all those in favor of the motion to refer, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Is there any other miscellaneous motions, resolutions, or new business to come before the board?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion to adjourn, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We stand adjourned.